Today we're going to install the TruXedo Low Pro on this 2019 new body style GMC Sierra. Now this is the same install as the Chevy Silverado. Let's go ahead and get started. This is the bulkhead seal that comes in the kit that you get with your cover. Now this particular truck already has a bulkhead seal installed on it and it's doing just fine. I'm not going to worry about replacing this one. If your truck does not have a bulkhead seal, what you want to do is make sure you install that bulkhead seal from one bed cap all the way to the other bed cap. Make sure they're touching both bed caps. Also make sure that bulkhead seal is as far back on the bulkhead as possible before it kind of falls down into the bed of the truck. You'll also want to rub down the surface of the bulkhead with rubbing alcohol before you apply the bulkhead seal. That gets you the best adhesion. Okay, now this is our passenger side rail. You can identify that because you've got a piston up in the front that is going to go towards the cab of the truck. The shelf of the rail is going to face to the inside of the bed of the truck. Your seal is going to face to the outside and is actually going to go right up against your bed cap. Now before you put it up against the bed cap, we're going to close the tailgate and fit this up against the bed cap in between our bulkhead and our tailgate. Now I want to make sure the top of my seal is even with the top of my bed cap. I'm going to attach it with a squeeze clamp temporarily. All right, now this is our front clamp. I'm going to place this along the bed cap as far forward as I can get it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spread this clamp apart. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to back out the bolt as much as possible without the bolt coming out. Spread the clamp apart. Then I'm going to insert it up into the bed cap. Make sure the grooves on the clamp fit properly into the grooves on the rail. Now while you're holding it together, just go ahead and get it nice and finger tight. Once it's set in finger tight, make sure that the top of the seal is still aligned with the top of your bed cap, and then go ahead and tighten that down with a 1/2 inch wrench or ratchet. Now once you get that tight, you don't need to over tighten it, just get it nice and snug. All right, now for the second clamp location, I'm going to go right to the center of the bed. Now one thing I do want to point out first, the plastic bed cap that's coming down here, if I push in on that, it flexes in quite a bit. The reason why is because the metal flange back here is kind of pulled away from it. There's a little gap in between the two. So to make sure that as I tighten this clamp down, it doesn't draw the rail down into the bed of the truck, I'm actually going to take one of our shims out of our shim kit and slide it up in between that plastic bed cap cover and that metal flange. Now I'm going to go ahead and install one of our clamps in that location. That just supports the rail so that it does not fall down into the bed of the truck. Again, we want to make that nice and hand tight first, and then snug that down with a 1/2 inch wrench or ratchet. All right, now our final clamping location is going to be directly underneath my stake hole pocket in the back of the bed. Because this truck has a bed rug, I can just go ahead and pull this back, and I'm going to expose a little hole down below the stake hole pocket. Now again, up above here where my bed cap is, the plastic bed cap cover, I can push in on that. So I'm going to take one of my shims directly above the hole and insert the shim behind the plastic bed cap. Again, this is just to give some support to that bed cap back here. Now I'm going to take one of my oversized clamps. I'm going to open that all the way up, take it completely apart. The large bolt with this clamp half that has a little orange gasket on there, I'm going to set to the side. This portion, the part that kind of comes in a little bit, that goes to the bottom, and this part goes to the top. What I'm going to do is go through the stake hole pocket. I'm going to drop it down. We're going to see that hole line up with this hole. What I want to do is actually go beyond that hole and then raise it back up. What that does is that allows this clamp to go behind my plastic bed cap. I also went ahead and notched a hole inside my bed rug. That way I can take my clamp, push it through that hole, and line it up with the threads. Once I've got that lined up, now I'm going to rotate my clamp and bring it up to where it bites down onto the rail. Tighten that down by hand first. Then again, make sure that the top of the seal is still lined up with the top of the rail. Then tighten that down with a 1/2 inch wrench or ratchet. Next, we're going to go ahead and repeat the exact same process on the opposite side. However, if you have the Multi-Pro tailgate with that embed handle, I will show you how to address that. Okay, so here is the driver's side. I've already gone ahead and installed my first 2 clamps. When I get to the rear to install the rear clamp, well, I've got the in-bed handle that's in the way. I can't install that clamp. So I'm going to give you a couple of options. Number one, this does kind of hit the rail as you rotate it up. It's not going to cause excessive wear, but over time it will probably wear a little bit on the rail and on the handle. If you're absolutely in love with that handle and you want to keep it, they do give you extra clamps. You can actually fit a clamp right up in here and tighten it down just like you did the first 2. You don't even need a shim. Or if you want to get rid of the Multi-Pro tailgate handle, I'm going to show you how to remove it. We've got a 13 millimeter. We're going to take out a bolt and then 2 nuts right here. All right, now we can just go ahead and pull that whole handle off and out of the way, and then I can push the bolt plate through the stake hole pocket and pull that out. Now I can go ahead and install my rear clamp just like I did on the opposite side. All right, now I've gone ahead and placed my tarp on top of my rails. If I rotate this forward, my rubber flap is going to be facing towards the cab of the truck. That's the way I want it. We've got a rail lock here. When it comes out of the box, your straps are going to be kind of tucked underneath there. Make sure those straps on both sides just drop down into the bed of the truck. Now when I rotate this down, the header bar is going to need to rotate on top of this shelf right in front of this piston. So I'm going to do that right now. All right, once that's in place, go ahead and peel your Velcro back. And I want to point out this is what they call floating Velcro, so it'll slide back and forth. Make sure on both sides the Velcro is slid all the way forward. All right, now we've got a rail lock. What we're going to do on both sides is take that rail lock and lock it up underneath the rail. Now we can test the operation of the cover. All right, now before we test the operation of the cover, we're going to kind of rock this forward and there again. Make sure our Velcro is all the way forward on the rails. We just roll it back to the tailgate. And here we just rock it into the latches and lock it down. Okay, now to open the cover, you just pull the trigger latch on the driver's side and you can rotate the cover towards the cab of the truck. To close the cover, first close the tailgate and then close the cover onto the tailgate. Well, that concludes the installation. If you have any questions, call the experts or visit us online.